You didn't think you'd just roll through beautiful Indianapolis and not get a little color commentary from Pat McAfee himself, did you? Look, I'm no mathematician. Never claimed to be an astrophysicist.
We have liftoff!
But I know fast when I see it. Going Mach 3 with your hair on fire is my comfort zone, okay? In hot damn, if tonight isn't a strap in, keep all hands and feet inside, take the governor off kind of not. And if there's one thing I know about this town, it's that fortune favors the fast. Look at them, superhuman specimens. Athletic A-listers. Straight up debonair dogs. Born to do one thing. Win.
John Cena is back!
Gotta keep your head on a swivel though, fam.
Nobody wants you here, John. Look what happens when you mess with the bloodline.
LA Knight! Cena's got a partner for Fastlane!
Sometimes, even the Fastlane finds a little oncoming traffic.
Shinsuke Nakamura is in Rollins' head.
I am losing my mind.
Seth freaking Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura. Last man standing.
If you're not fired up right now, I'd say we need a pulse check and I'll wet blanket.
I am still the measuring stick.
The single most lethal woman in WWE, the WWE Women's Champion, Io Sky!
We are ramping towards a big finish.
The Judgment Day isn't afraid of anyone.
Uso and Rhodes are coming after the tag team titles.
Boom! WWE Fastlane coming at you like a Mack truck. Let's go!
And now, Cyberpunk 2077 presents WWE Fastlane.
Championships are on the line tonight, and a self-proclaimed megastar hopes to take a massive step in his career. You are looking live from a sold-out Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. 14,529 WWE fans are here in the city of the Indy 500. And appropriately tonight, the home of WWE.
We're really glad that you're our friend, and this is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the least requested, least demanded, and the least downloaded wrestling podcast, PCW. This could be a long podcast, so strap in and shut up and don't be a little bitch about it.
To the masters.
Ruthless aggression.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of PCW Podcast Championship Wrestling. I am your host, Wayne. You also know me as Semi-Dry Chicken. And tonight we are going to review Fastlane. We did skip an episode. We didn't do predictions. It's a little different this time. We did like an off-the-cuff kind of episode before, and you know what? Fastlane came and fucking went. So we missed the predictions, but no big deal. We're here for the post-show. But I'm not alone. Let me bring out the commentary team. Here we go. Hey, Dre.
Yo, what it do, PCW crew?
Yeah, how you feeling? Last episode, you weren't feeling so good.
Well, now I'm feeling much better. I'm not coughing up a freaking lung. Finally got over that, so... Yep. Got my energy back up, so back to my normal, usual, analytical, ranting, fantasy booking self.
All right. Well, dude, he's back. He's back. There's rumors. I heard in the locker room, but he's back. Let's bring him on out. Doyle.
Oh, it's me. It's the Doyle. And finally, the Doyle has come back to PCW. How many more gimmicks can I steal here? What else can I do? That's the bottom line.
Dude, as many as you want.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, I can't believe that none of us brought up the fact that we, on the Discord, that I totally forgot to schedule a predictions episode. It just came and went so fast.
I thought you were going to do it. Well, I thought you were going to do it.
I know. I feel like
it's kind of hard to predict shit when they're literally booking matches the week of the damn show.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what it was, because it did feel very last minute.
This was much more of a very special episode of Raw than a pay-per-view.
Yeah, like week of, and they've only got 5 matches booked. But nobody thought that they were just going to leave it at 5. I thought like they damn sure going to at least add like 2 more on SmackDown, and no, just 5 matches. That's it.
Never, no way.
I mean, it looked like a B-level pay-per-view on paper, but it turned into a D-level pay-per-view.
Man, I can't wait to get into this fucking pay-per-view here, because I had some moments I really enjoyed. I don't know how you guys feel the same, but we're gonna find out.
The highs were high and the lows, the lows were low.
Oh, come on. Dre, are you eating spaghetti this episode?
Nope, not spaghetti this time. Leftover pizza.
Leftover pizza. All right. And Doyle, are you eating Pop Rocks?
I am not eating anything at all. I'm having a Fresca.
Yes, a Fresca.
Fresca. Wow.
I am a bougie bitch.
I am having a rum and Coke. Captain.
Is there such a thing as a bougie soda?
A bougie soda. Like a...
I mean, I guess Fresca could be considered bougie-ish, but I'm like, it's still soda.
Fair enough.
What kind of glass do you put it in?
Calories.
What kind of... Do you just throw it in a plastic cup? You're not bougie and put it in like a fine glass?
Oh, no, I'm drinking this right out of the can.
See, no, that's not bougie enough, so you got to pour that thing into a wine glass or something.
I should get a pimp cup.
Yeah, wine glass. I agree.
Pinky out.
Yeah, pinky out, dude.
Your pinkies up, out the wine glass.
Yeah, but you have to have a couple of
them. Set it in a little decanter or something like that.
You have to have a couple of them on a tray and have them delivered to you.
I should.
Mm-hmm.
Jeeves!
On the rocks. Not no regular basic ice cube either. That big, like, clear ball of ice that you just pour it over.
I'm trying to teach the cats to make drinks, but it hasn't...
Doyle, another Fresca, sir. This is your 6th one tonight. You should lay off. You'll have a sugar rush.
I'm sorry that took so long. I was busy licking my own ass.
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys say of the opening to Fastlane, with Pat McAfee's opening? Because, I sometimes...
Hate Pat McAfee. Yeah, I said it.
I know you don't like Pat McAfee. I love Pat McAfee. I love him when he's in WWE. That's about it. Every month before these, pay-per-views, they have, these awesome video promos, and I like to throw them in the beginning of our podcast episode. And I think this one was pretty good. I just, I had to watch it again. I was pretty psyched with it. But, Dre, do you want to take it from here?
Yep. We were right on in the Fastlane. As fast as it came, it quickly went. It took place from the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana, with a reported attendance of 14,529 people. Decent enough crowd. I don't know
I
if
guess that's why they brought Fastlane, the name, back, because they're an indie.
Yeah, because you saw that they had
Fastlane since 2021, and it used to be right before Mania because we were in the Fastlane on the road to WrestleMania. Now we're just Fastlane on the road to nowhere.
Right. This felt like one of the ones where they booked the event before they knew what the event was. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're holding the PLE in Indy in November. What are we going to call it? Don't know. We'll figure it out. And then maybe like by June, somebody was like, hey, we might want to figure out that September shit or that October show. Oh,
Did anyone else? It took me a good hour to realize my phone wasn't making weird noises. It was that vroom, every time they put the the fat logo on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I was like, what the hell is that? I thought that was happening. I go, what the hell is this? Took me like a good hour to figure it out.
Yeah, so they didn't really do much as far as set design went. They just basically grabbed two little Indy cars, got them Fastlane wrapped, and said, here, put them on stage.
That's more than they've been doing, honestly, as far as sets go. I feel like we've had fairly generic sets the last couple pay-per-views, and in fact, we've kind of bemoaned the lack of set dressing. So we sort of got it a little bit.
Yeah.
They at least tried this time. They're like, Indy, Fastlane, let's dress it up a little bit with something.
I thought the Fastlane sounded like we thought it sounded like a horn, like in the crowd, like somebody had like a bugle horn or something.
Yeah, or it sounded like the. Bam, 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 bam. I kept thinking that
Jamaican horns.
Yeah. Yes. Wow, this fucking sounds. It's very accurate.
Right.
Very accurate.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know where they got that little stock sound of that was supposed to represent like a race car, but yeah, not the best. Mm-hmm. I guess it was supposed to be more of an indie sound than say NASCAR, which I guess are different tones. I guess because Indy cars are generally higher revenue. I don't know why the fuck I'm overanalyzing this shit.
Why do we need a sound effect to play 300 times in the show at all?
Right. Hey, we're not about to spend 10 minutes analyzing freaking the audio cues of this damn pay-per-view.
I wish I would have known. I would have grabbed that sound bite of that race car sound just for you guys.
Nah. No, we're just going to jump right into the first match. First match saw Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso taking on Judgment Day members Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. And what was a pretty much, as far as, in my opinion, just watching the match, it seemed like it was really like or anything. There was just like a pretty standard match. Honestly, kind of a bit of a letdown after the banger we got last month between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking on Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Mm-hmm. But they managed to, I'm pretty sure, surprise everybody in the fact that Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso won and actually defeated the Judgment Day, because I damn sure didn't see that coming. I don't know about y'all, but I did not think those guys were going to be champions for, less than a month?
Yeah.
Dude. Especially given the run that Judgment Day has been on and all. I damn sure didn't. I didn't see where the storyline was at or how any of this made sense. But nevertheless, that was the finish that we got. I mean, like I said, again, the match itself, it was okay. It was a decent match. Like, it didn't suck, but it didn't really wow me either until the 3 count. I was like, holy shit, they won. But Doyle, what do you think of the match?
Yeah, I mean, the match itself was fine. It started kind of slow, but it did get progressively better. And it was some decent tag team wrestling. You know, they did that spot where like the heels have a baby outside and they hit him, and then the baby goes to retaliate, and the ref stops him. So I mean, they weren't really reinventing the wheel or anything, nothing groundbreaking, but still good tag team wrestling. And you know, we don't really see a whole lot of that anymore these days. But that's about the only good thing I have to say, because the booking was what the fuck. Okay, so firstly, like one of the entire purposes of this whole Bloodline story was to get Jay over as a single. You know, like, and if it hasn't finished happening yet, we're certainly well on our way, right? We've broken up the Usos. We've moved Jay to a different brand. Hell, his fucking theme music even says about how he's out on his own. And what do? Almost immediately put the tag team belts on him in a thrown together partnership on a B-level pay-per-view. Like, where the fuck is the logic in that? And Dre, you said it, you know, the Judgment Day, they lose their belts after only having them for a month. What the hell was the point? Like, where's the logic? And, you know, one of my biggest pet peeves, and we saw twice tonight, is thrown together tag teams beating established tag teams. You know, it can happen once in a while, but it happens twice on the same show. And that's not the only thing we saw twice on the same show, but we'll get to that. And now you got to get the titles off of Cody and Jay at some point, right? While keeping them over still. You know, so I have no earthly idea where any of this is going or why. You know, and while unpredictability is certainly a net good, you know, and I've been calling for surprise title changes, you know, I'd also like to see an actual tag division here that revolves around these tag belts rather than pairs of singles holding the belts and then dropping them kind of spur of the moment to another pair of singles that are somehow together. You know, we got Pretty Deadly coming back. Their fucking vignettes have been fucking incredible, by the way. You know, but you get the Vikings, you get New Day, you got DIY, you got Alpha Academy, you get the other LWO guys, the Street Profits, Imperium, the Brutes. You know, we've got tag teams here. Why
and they're all fighting in the mid card
tag division. Why do we have to have two singles thrown together? And you know, like, it just, so like the match itself got like a 3, it was fine, but the booking of this match is like a 1.5. I just don't get it.
Exactly. You're 100% right on that. All these actual legitimate tag teams in the WWE, and they're all just basically fighting in the mid card while you just
they're not even having number one contender matches or anything.
Right. They're just fighting each other just for shits and giggles, jockeying for position. Nobody seems to be gaining any actual momentum or anything whatsoever. Meanwhile, you just take your top baby faces and just draw names out of a hat and say, all right, you're champions now. It seems like it really just, it makes no sense. And if this is supposed to be part of the
fun, I think there's some fun to be had with Cody and Jay as tag champions, but it doesn't make any sense with anything else that's going on.
Yeah, there's fun to be had with them as a duo and as buddies and maybe just having each other's back. But
sure. Yeah, fair enough.
Doesn't need the tag titles to exist. Yeah. They can totally do that without them being tag team champions, and just let them play off each other and let them have that dynamic for however long you keep Cody on Raw. I mean, the only thing that I can even remotely see this being useful for is as an excuse to have Cody on SmackDown again.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, we still haven't got the other half of that trade. So
right, we haven't gotten the other half of that trade, but
if they're determined Cody, and that's how they split the belts up, maybe Cody takes his belt to SmackDown, Jay stays with one of the other belt,
something to that effect. But at least since they're undisputed champions, they're technically able to appear on both Raw, on both shows, which still is not the best booking to me because you're still you got this one hanging thread out there that you just seem to be dragging along for no other reason than just to drag it along.
Right.
I don't know if it's like
I hope they're going somewhere with it.
Right. Is this y'all just trying to keep the television, the TV execs happy because they still want the USA guys still want Cody? So you're like, all right, fine, we'll keep Cody here for another 4 months or something like that. And now you got to figure out 4 months of booking with this guy to kill time or whatever. But
no, I mean, let's.
I don't know,
It kind of goes with hand in hand here. The subject you guys are talking about goes with our question of the episode. Was sent in by a fan, Andrea, on our website.
Would you like to answer a question right at this particular time? Would you like to do that?
And I guess she did. So I just think I just pinched it in here because it has to do exactly with what you guys are talking about. She says, how do you think Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso's tag team will play out? Do you think others will bounce between Raw and SmackDown, therefore making the draft pointless? And you guys are making great points. It's pretty much making the separation of Jay and Jimmy kind of pointless if you're going to put them back on the same roster, right back into the bloodline, pool, them being on the same roster. Cody Rhodes being able to go where he pleases now, so now they can get him on Raw and SmackDown. I think they should just said, since Jay came here, I go to SmackDown, and that would be the end of it. But Doyle, you made a good point, dude. There's so many tag teams, and we have 2 tag team titles tied up with the same guys.
And furthermore, the Usos were a legit team, sure, but then Sami and KO, 2 singles thrown together. Judgment Day, they're in a stable together, but really, Finn and Priest are 2 singles thrown together, and now Cody and Jay are 2 singles thrown together.
And I guess one of the Viking Raiders looked at that tag team division. He's like, "Well, I'm never going to get a tag team title at this point." He goes, "I think I'm going to go singles, and I can go for the world title, Ivar or whatever it is."
Well, see, but even when you have legit tag teams, you can even do something like that because I can't think of his fucking name. Ricky Morton and Animal both, and Hawk even would go after, would have a match with Ric Flair every so often for the time, and it was believable.
Yeah. Especially once in a blue moon, you can do that. Having a legitimate tag team, because even if they go single for a moment, you still know that they're primarily a tag teamer. They're part of a particular tag team. So them having a singles moment for like a month or 2 or something like that, especially if their partner happens to get injured, it's totally fine. It's a whole nother thing when you're taking singles guys and just lumping them together as a tag team at the expense of your actual legitimate tag teams.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be expecting the audience to believe that these 2 guys who have never teamed up before should on paper have no chemistry whatsoever, are better than legitimate tag teams who have been teamed up together for months or years on end. Like that.
Exactly.
That totally defies wrestling logic. But
that's
we saw that twice. We saw it twice tonight. Fucking 40% of the matches were that tonight.
40% out of 5 matches. Oh, God.
Yeah, 2 of 5.
God.
Yeah, but I guess back to the question of how do we see Cody and Jay being booked now that they're champions?
Dude, honestly, my opinion, not even seeing this, just like you, Dre, I totally didn't see this coming. I don't think, I think if we would have predicted, I would have said, the Judgment Day. It just made logical sense. This new upcoming stable, who's dominating. You think they let them hold on to everything just for a little bit longer, But instead, it's no, we're going to take away the North American title, and then we're going to give it back. And then we're going to take away the tag team titles. But who knows? We might give them back. It's
who's going to beat Cody and Jay?
Yeah.
And how do you keep Cody and Jay over
a big
if Pretty Deadly beats them or something? You know what I mean? How does that even happen?
I know. Jimmy and Solo. There you go. That's the team that could possibly take maybe half of those titles. somehow they get half of those titles. I don't know. We need to figure out a way to make one set of titles or split them. I agree, Doyle. Too many fucking tag teams, not enough gold.
That's actually a pretty good idea, because I think it's going to be. I think because you're looking ahead to if there's a War Games match, I think it's going to be like a super villain, with a Bloodline / Judgment Day, some configuration versus the Super Friends, which is Jay and Cody and Sammy and KO and somebody else. I don't know.
Probably Cena if he's still around.
No, not Cena. I know who we could get for Survivor Series.
Jump it. I mean, slightly.
We'll talk about it later. Anyway.
Yeah, let's say, based on how SmackDown ended Friday, that seems to be the direction that they're going, was some sort of Bloodline Judgment Day alliance.
Yeah. Right, and we've been speculating, we spent all year thinking about War Games, I guess, but now it's actually right around the corner, so it's actually time to start the build.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty much all but confirmed that this Survivor Series will feature another War Games match.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious to see if they're going to go men and women's or just the men, because the men seems pretty lined up. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with the women, but again, that's neither here nor there for the time being. But any other final thoughts on this tag team match?
No, I mean, I don't know what they're doing with Judgment Day. Like, I know we've been talking about Cody and Jay, but I'm thinking of Judgment Day now. Last pay-per-view we were talking about with these guys, they had it all. They won it all. They were at the top of the mountain for themselves at that point. And it seems like this roller coaster is going down and up because like I said, Dom lost his title and then oddly just got it back. Okay. That was just weird. It was some weird thing that happened throughout the week. I mean, if you
just to touch on that briefly.
Yeah.
It seems weird. I think the only reason why it seems weird is because of the person who defeated Dom and then lost to him, and Trick Williams.
Yeah.
Trick Williams is seen as a guy who's on the come up.
Yep.
At least in terms of NXT, he's a rising star in NXT. So when he won the North American title at No Way Out, No Mercy, my fault. But when he won it at No Mercy, we all thought that this was just part of his ascension, part of him rising in the ranks.
Right.
So when he lost it, surprisingly, back to Dom, it seemed like, well, what the fuck was the point of him doing that in the first place? Why did y'all hold this dude out like that, basically, to Dom? But then you find out in the reports that supposedly it was never supposed to be Trick Williams in that position in the first place, and that the original plan was for that to happen to Mustafa Ali.
Yes.
He was supposed to be the one to beat Dom and then drop the title back to him. And I think had that happened, I don't think anybody would have an issue with it whatsoever. We'd have been like, oh, that's Mustafa Ali got a fluke win and then lost it right back to Dom, the person, who they're actually invested in as far as developing a person. And then obviously Mustafa Ali helping elevate, Dominic Mysterio with what would have been probably some really dope matches. So, yeah, the issue with that to me isn't so much the booking, it's more the person that they chose as basically the sacrificial lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but sorry to interrupt, but back to what you were saying.
No, I just thought it was just weird that we're taking so much away from them and giving it back. And dude, it totally makes sense with that. I totally forgot that, about Mustafa Ali getting let go and how that kind of fucked up the schedule of things. But the tag team one just kind of unless we're leading to these getting split up again, these titles, I really don't understand why they're taking them off Judgment Day. I mean, it looks like Judgment Day is also having some issues internally, already. Seems like Rhea and Jey Uso get along pretty well. Just saying. I don't know if anybody else has been catching on to that.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, she looked at me like that, I'd have folded. She looked at me like that, I'm folded.
Oh shit! Jay was like, "Ooh, so." Yeah. So, other than that, the win just, the match was pretty decent. I can't believe how many people got involved again, but this time they were able to capture the titles, which makes me wonder: are they better than KO and Sammy?
Yeah, that kind of doesn't bode well for KO and Sammy when they couldn't overcome the numbers game, but Cody and Jay could.
Same.
I guess that's establishing the babyface hierarchy.
Yeah, so like I said, the only two people I could see right now that would be, something to look forward to would be Jimmy and Solo. I mean, let's do it. Book it.
Yeah, I could see that being a thing. Probably not on a PLE, but maybe on a episode of SmackDown going in. But yeah, again, the Judgment Day booking is weird. I have ideas on how I personally would have booked it, but I'm gonna save that till the end of the our pay-per-view discussion, considering it revolves a bit around the main event of this show. But yeah, if it was me, I would have been booking this totally different, because I'm pretty sure after after we all saw Cody and Jay win the titles, I'm pretty sure almost everybody had the same thought in their head as far as how the rest of this show was going to go, but we'll get to that later. Next matchup was the LWO of Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar with Selena Vega at their side, taking on Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in a somewhat handicap match, or a 6-man tag match with only 5 men. And this match was brief. It only went for like 10 minutes and was pretty standard fare of, the heels, because I guess they're fully in on the guys being heels now, of Lashley and Street Profits basically beating the snot out of the LWO because they got the numbers advantage and seemed like they were on their way to almost a squash victory, until somebody decided to spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Out of the ring. And yet again, Lashley tasked with helping Ford recover on the outside. Zelina Vega begging for Mysterio to make it. Cool is. Ford. Bobby Lashley takes a right hand. And there's no way in hell that Ford or Dawkins and Lashley could have prepared for Carlito. Carlito telegraphed that. Montez Ford now runs into a drop kick by Caribbean Cool Carlito. Off the kip up. Carlito looks great. In tremendous physical condition. Mysterio takes out Dawkins with a seated senton. Nobody home for the kick. Backstabber! Cover by Carlito! What a win! Here are your winners, the team of Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, and Carlito! The last time we saw Carlito, I believe, was the Backlash in Puerto Rico. In the Bad Bunny match with Damian Priest. And tonight, he comes to the aid of Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio. And that's where Carlito's been since then, but clearly he was in the gym.
Came in, cleaned house, and scored a fucking pinfall on Montez Ford to win.
Dude,
in like 1 minute.
Didn't fucking see that coming either.
Yeah, it was great.
Saw Carlito return coming. I damn sure saw that coming. Like when they was in the back after, the other two members of LWO got absolutely hoed out again.
Yeah.
And then Ray's like, let me make a call. I was like, oh, Carlito. it was blatantly obvious. Like, yeah, Carlito's going to show up. So I expected him to show up, but I didn't think that they were going to put him in the hero role like that. Like, the guy to come out and save the day and fucking. You tell me Carlito's out here whooping up on Lashley and the Street Profits? Like, I'm supposed to fucking believe that? Like, you that's what you selling me? Like, I don't care how much the man been in the gym. Like, you really selling me Carlito squaring up with Bobby Lashley? Like, really? Like, I did not see that finish coming. I didn't see Carlito being in the hero role coming. I thought they were just he would have just come out from the very beginning and as just a surprise tag team partner, which I think would have gotten just as much of a pop as what we got on the show. And then I expected them to just wrestle a good match, and then Lashley and the Street Profits, the guys that you are seemingly trying to build up and push again, coming out as the winners. But no, they lose to the guy who got off the plane 10 hours ago.
God,
make that fucking make sense, Doyle.
I can't make it make sense. Yeah, like it. Why withhold Carlito like that? Why not just have a 3-on-3 match from the get-go? And why change Carlito's music? Also, by the way, that was a poor decision, I thought. Also,
yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to be building Bobby and the Street Profits into these monsters. I guess we're going heels. I mean, it was kind of unclear for a while, but I guess we're going heels. And now they look like fucking chumps. You know, like, it makes no sense. I'm glad it was only 10 minutes.
I think I really enjoyed Carlito coming back. I think I liked his new music. Maybe I was into the moment. But his new music was pretty good, dude. Like, I love the classic. I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. Carlito. I mean, dude, I remember it. It was great. But this new one, I don't know. Maybe it was just the moment. I thought the music was pretty good. But think about this. Like, you got Rey Mysterio, Bobby Lashley, and Carlito. These guys were all around during the Ruthless Aggression era. And now these guys have their own stables and... I mean, if there's one thing I fucking love in wrestling, it's stables. And, you know, matching outfits, attire, matching, like, you know, shirts or, like, theme music, like an entrance together instead of being separate. I think those things are always cool. And it always takes a while for a group to find its thing because, you know, there's some people who can do it on the first try. And then there's some who can. And, you know, I mean, do you guys remember the Nexus? And do you guys remember the Core?
Of course. Well, remember the Attitude Era, all the gang, you know, remember gang warfare or whatever? We're kind of slowly getting back there. We've got quite a few factions going now.
But, like, you know, we've been, you know, seeing this build for Bobby Lashley and his stable for a while. And now they finally have, you know, matching wrestling attire. Like, I was happy just to see that. I was like, that was awesome. I agree. They came out together. Mm-hmm. You know, they didn't come out separately. They're not coming out with the cups no more. You know, as soon as I saw them come out together, I was like, there's no cups. I was like, okay, we're serious.
Dawkins got rid of them goddamn basketball shorts.
Yeah.
It still looks stupid.
and Montez Ford
you still look dumb,
dude.
It's the top. It's the wife beater top. It's that singlet just don't match up well with them tights. That like he ain't got enough chest to pull that off.
Yeah, but like Montez Ford was like just talking trash to fans the entire match. Like, I think he's gonna enjoy being a heel. I think he's gonna enjoy it. You know, Bobby Lashley's a good guy to show you around the block, you know, about being a heel. He's been a heel a couple times, and I hope, you know, we can add some more people to it. Why can't we get somebody like Bianca Belair to join? I've been hearing people on the internet talking about Jade Cargill maybe joining. I don't know, there's so many possibilities. There's even just more male wrestlers you can even add, you know, that aren't doing anything. So,
yeah.
But
I agree with you on that point. There's definitely room for this faction to grow.
Yeah.
But all that potential is going to be lost or wasted if in their first major match as a team together, you have them lose to the fucking guy who came through goddamn immigration 12 hours earlier.
I feel like, though, they may have won the battle, but they're not going to win the war. Like, let's face it, LWO is really loser World Order because they don't... there's probably LWO fans out there that are going to hate me for this, but, like, dude, they don't win matches as a team.
No.
And you guys realize there's two other wrestlers, right? There's Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. Where they weren't there, so we had to.
Yeah, because they got their shit smashed out.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Like, yeah, they got fucked up off SmackDown that Friday and got smashed up. And in that moment, Lashley and Street Profits looked strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they fought these dudes. They took out two of them. I'm like, okay. They full on heels. We rolling with this. Let's go. And then fucking Carlito beats him.
Yeah, so I think like
I guess we could have added some stakes to this somehow. I like, I love the old, if Bobby and the Street Profits win, they get Selena Vega for a weekend or something. Like that kind of weird shit. Like I wish there was some kind of something at stake. Which makes Carlito making the save. Like yes, like. There was just nothing. This could have been on SmackDown. Another match that could have been on SmackDown.
Yeah,
Raw,
this could have been
like not pay-per-view worthy. That's
definitely not. Definitely not PLE worthy. Definitely not in this sense. Like it seemed like the only purpose of this was just to bring Carlito back, which I'm assuming moving forward he'll be a regular on-air person. I'm assuming that probably Thursday there's going to be some sort of not Thursday but Friday SmackDown will get like. He's an official LWO inductee or whatever. Like they'll put the shirt on him, NWO style. Like you're officially in now, and then we'll probably see Lashley and the Street Profits come out and like, run it back.
Yeah. I think
which fine. If they run it back, cool. Then it needs to be a squash. Then
it's
next time around.
They won the battle, but they're going to lose the war. And I think, like I said, LWO hasn't won anything in a while. Maybe this was just for Carlito and a win for them that they fucking needed. And now expect I hope they change their name, because right now it's just Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. But, I mean, I thought of another... Do you guys remember when the New Age Outlaws were with DX? It was always, DX and, the New Age Outlaws. So I guess if this is a tag team doesn't want to change their name as a group, then I guess it's just going to be Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits.
My guess is that they're probably still workshopping names and trying to come up with something other than the Hurt Business.
Yeah, I get it.
The Street Profits sounds like a doo-wop group.
yeah, it does. It sounds weird. But if this is like the slow burn that's going to make it work, like, with them coming out with an entrance with Bobby, they got their positions, they got their the mashing tires, they got the pyro, they're using Bobby Lashley's music because we're not here to have fun, we're not here to dance, we're not here to drink out of fucking cups, we're here to fucking kick some ass. So it's definitely a work in progress with these guys. So you know what? Give it a few weeks, then we'll have a name, we'll have a t-shirt, and we'll have a finisher.
They got the finisher. They Dawkins and Ford have come up with some pretty badass finishers and stuff. And I mean, it's kind of already been going for a few weeks, a while. What I will say is this, in regards to them losing, what I hope I do not see, I do not want to see Bobby Lashley like scolding the Street Profits or reprimanding them or Ford because he was the one to get pinned. That part, like when they did it, what was it, the other week when Street Profits had a tag match and they lost, and then Bobby Lashley was in the back basically just talking down to them like they wasn't shit. Like that part I don't like. I don't like that at all in a faction, because I get it that he's the guy who recruited them and brought them in and was kind of upgrading them and all that stuff, but I don't like the faction where one guy is like talking down to the other members. I've always felt like factions, there's always somebody who's like a leader, but to me, they work best when they still treat each other as equals, where they all seem like they exist on equal terms with each other. Like, yeah, Shawn Michaels was the leader of DX, but he never treated Triple H or China or the Outlaws like they were somehow, B tier or beneath him or something like that. It's just like he's the champion, he's in the champion feuds, and they're in their feuds with tag titles or whatever. So when Lashley was just like ripping into them for that shit and acting like they weren't shit, like, to me, that made them look weak. It made them look real, like, very much beneath him. And it kind of, I don't like that imbalance in the faction in that. Like, I'd much rather them be a strong faction as equals where, kind of like how Judgment Day says it, but it's not true. Like, there are no leaders or whatever, which, again, we know that's total bullshit. There really is a leader, but I don't want that to be the dynamic of whatever this faction turns into be, where it's just Bobby Lashley sitting up high and barking down to the other members like, they have to constantly prove themselves to him. Like, if you're a faction, you're a faction. Y'all are together. Y'all are the homies. Y'all are in this and we together dominate. Not like, okay, we do what you say, and as long as we meet your expectations, we can stay in the faction. That I don't like that at all.
It sounds like you're talking about Imperium, because that's basically how they roll,
more or less. But to me, that dynamic kind of works to a certain extent with Imperium, because how can I say this? I guess that dynamic that they have, which is kind of walking on glass here. Like, I almost want to say it's like that with that European regime that they have. It's almost like, God, it's almost like they're like a Nazi type faction, even though they're not Nazis, but they kind of play up that Eastern European thing where it's like, y'all get what I'm trying to say, where the one guy is like the actual leader and he has his henchmen. Yeah. Like, that's kind of been their established, what they've kind of existed at from the beginning, where it kind of seemed like, Gunther came out, he established himself as the dominant guy, then he brought in, his two henchmen afterwards. These guys, and that was really our first introduction to them on the main roster, unless you followed them in NXT Europe or wherever it was that they were beforehand. Their introduction was them coming in or having brought in by Gunther. So for him to have the leader henchman dynamic kind of works better in that faction because of how they were brought together and how they were established. Whereas with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, they're already established as individuals beforehand. Bobby Lashley is established as a multi-time world champion. Street Profits are established as a tag team and former tag team champions on their own. So them coming together, to me, doesn't make sense for it to be a one guy sitting up high talking down to the others. Even if he is more successful or more accomplished, then sure, there could be maybe a bit of a leader. Obviously, he's established as a leader, but not so much so that he can belittle the other guys in this group. I think it's, especially if his whole premise was, I'm gonna bring y'all in and we gonna do this together, remake y'all and yada yada. That to me leans towards more of a teacher, I guess, type of dynamic or a mentoring type dynamic, not a I'm the ruling leader and y'all are just my henchmen / minions.
Sorry, I was thinking of...
agree, disagree?
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. Fucking LWO. Let him have a win. Let him have a win. They need this win. Let Carlito have a win. He hasn't had a decent win in God knows how long. I really think it's too late, though. Like, I thought a perfect time for Carlito to have come back was when Epico and Primo were still in the company. You know, but they missed that ship, so hopefully he sticks around for quite some time. I mean, I guess they offered him a good amount of money after all those firings. So.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I'm not mad at LWO getting a win because
no.
I've always felt that they've had their own problems with how LWO's been booked. Like, they've been booked terribly.
U.S. champion. It's not like they never get wins, although all his wins are flukes. But
yeah, but there is singles matches. Like, anytime you put the LWO like team together in a match, they always. That's why I always associate them with the loser world.
LWO more like JOB.
Yeah, the problem with LWO is Ray's the only one who gets to win.
Yes.
And to me, that's the complete wrong way to be booking that faction.
Yeah. Run off my coattails.
Yeah, to me, the whole purpose of the LWO should be building up the other members. Like, Rey Mysterio's the last motherfucker in that group who needs to be winning shit. Like, he should have absolutely been the teacher to them. Like, he should be they fucking Master Splinter, basically. Like, I'm the OG, I'm the vet.
Yeah, I still don't know what's going on with Santos not being the U.S. champion. Like,
because somebody
I keep waiting for him to snap on Ray one of these days. I hope.
Yeah, this shit makes no sense as far as like talking about LWO. Like, Ray should have been the mentor, the teacher in that group, and he could be. And you have it already set up for those members to fulfill roles. Santos Escobar could be the next one up, the next in line, the next single star that Ray's passing all his knowledge into. You can almost
looking for the next Rey Mysterio Jr. for 15 years.
Sure, or the
Mysterio Jr.
Yeah, or he could be what Dom couldn't be to him. Somebody who's actually receptive to all his teachings and all that stuff, and he could pour all that stuff into it, which would just fucking just lay out the road towards a Santos Escobar Dominic Mysterio match at WrestleMania next year. That feud just would write itself if Ray starts pouring everything into Santos and treating him basically like the son that Dom couldn't be, or whatever. And Dom starts to become jealous. Like, that's the role for Santos Escobar, is again the next one up, the next single star that Ray teaches. Mm-hmm. He then Selena, obviously same thing, just as a women's wrestler. She's the next up and coming women's wrestler that is learning from Ray. And then the other two are the tag team that he teaches, because Ray has experience in all those facets as a single star and as a tag team star. He could be the mentor to all of them, and he should be the guy that, yes, I know he can still go in the ring and he can still perform, and yes, he's still extremely popular with the fans, but he should be the guy that within that faction where he only wrestles when he feels like he has to. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the other ones are going out there showcasing themselves every week. They're the ones getting pushed on television every week. They're the ones getting built up and elevated every week. And if Ray actually has to put on lace up the boots and get in the ring, it's for something important. It's like, oh, here's a big match, or we got this pay-per-view, or somebody got taken out and I got to sub in, or, this heel faction and crossed the line and pissed me off, so now you got to deal with me type of situation. But instead, it's like, all right, Ray wins and the rest of y'all just hold these L's for him. And that's just the complete wrong way to be booking that faction, in my opinion.
No, that's a great point. It's a great point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. All right, well, if we're done ranting on how two poorly booked factions fought each other in a poorly booked match,
yeah,
we can move on to something that actually was good on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship, with Io Sky as the champion defending against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. So this match, to me, was, like I said before, actually a good match. This one, I loved how in the beginning, Asuka immediately kind of turned things on her, everything on their head, and immediately went for the mist on Charlotte and took Charlotte out the match, which gave us what we all really wanted to see, and that's just Io versus Asuka going at it for a while. And then, like I said, plenty of back and forth action, all of them. And the ultimate result was Io Sky winning, defending her title with some assistance from Bayley of Damage Control. Again, I did think this was a good match. That doesn't mean I did not have my issues with this match.
Yeah.
But I'll hold off on those for a minute. Wayne, you start us off. What did you think of this match?
Oh, man, they took my girl Charlotte out pretty early in the match. I was very surprised how early we got the miss, right? I think it was so we can get a feel of what that crowd feels like to get Io and Asuka. Give them some real time to wrestle. So I mean, like Charlotte was out within 20 seconds, and it really wasn't even that bad. Like Seth Rollins gets it far worse later in the evening. But is the Mist being overdone at this point?
Yes.
Don't you feel like at this point you just would, before you start any match, open your mouth. Let me see. Swallow. But the time that we did get with Io versus Asuka, the one-on-one was very good, and just to have Charlotte, who's a much taller woman, and coming in with those big boots. How about that one spot where all three of them do? The spot where they're on the corner and they kind of did like a superplex, and Charlotte had. Yeah, Charlotte had Io on her shoulders, and then Asuka came and got Charlotte on her shoulders, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, poor Io, really taking that bump. But it seemed like everybody came out okay. Nobody got hurt in this match. After this match was a little up and down, but I definitely think this match really picked it up. And then here on out, I think the pay-per-view was pretty decent. But, I enjoyed this match. Bayley had to get in there, and, Io Sky was able to slip away. So hopefully Charlotte goes off and does something else for a bit, and we can maybe get Io versus Asuka feud. Give it to us. Shit.
Yeah, I feel like Io and Asuka have not really been given a chance to really cook the way we believe that they can. They had their one-on-one match, but that got, muddled with interference. And then they here in this triple threat match, which again had Charlotte in it, so we only got little bits and pieces of one-on-one action with them. I want to see these two. Just Io, just Asuka, nobody else, one-on-one, PLE pay-per-view quality match. I know they can give it. I know they can deliver it. It's just a matter of whether the powers that be are willing to just let those two cook. Well, Doyle, what did you think of the match?
Well, we got a Big Four pay-per-view coming up in Survivor Series, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Charlotte, especially with the way this match ended, which I'll get to, but Charlotte and Asuka facing each other for the right to face Io at Survivor Series, I think, is probably on the menu. But yeah, this is one of only two matches that I thought really felt pay-per-view worthy. But also one of two matches where we get missed. So, yes, Wayne, to answer your question, is missed being overused? Absolutely. It's like it's becoming like a super kick. It's just like ubiquitous. And it's used so inconsistently. It was clever to take the third person out of the match in that manner so quickly, in a way to give us a little taste of Io and Asuka. But then Charlotte basically no-sells it for the rest of the match. Once she re-enters, she's not keep wiping her eye. It's not an ongoing problem for her.
Thank you.
And we see. I mean, granted, it's a different company, but like AEW, people are out for weeks after getting sprayed with mist. They turn into demons from getting mist in their eye, And Charlotte's out here, perfectly fine 5 minutes later, So I was kind of hoping this match would bump Charlotte out of the title picture a little bit, but with that finish with Asuka tapping before Io hit the moonsault, I guess that's not going to happen. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Asuka and Charlotte, hopefully with Asuka going over for a shot at Io at Survivor Series would be great. But, I think if we learned anything, I think Charlotte is just a step behind Io and Asuka. They looked head and shoulders above what Charlotte was doing. And Charlotte's one of the best of all time. Just shows you how good Io and Asuka are both. It had its moments, but it kind of just felt like a collection of spots. It was a pretty good match nonetheless. But I think it's clear that Io and Asuka ran laps around Charlotte, and I hope this is the beginning of her. She can still certainly be involved in feuds and stuff, but let's get her out of the title picture for a little while. Give some other people a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I get your point about Io and Asuka just looking like they were wrestling circles around Charlotte, but the way the match was booked seemed like it was trying to tell a different story in that regard. And this is one of the issues I had with this match, because if you look at it from just the pure technical wrestling aspect, yeah, Io and Asuka look way better than Charlotte did in the ring. But if you look at the story that the match was telling, or just how some of the spots were planned out, it actually came off to me as being very imbalanced, in the sense that Charlotte was almost booked to look stronger than the two of them combined in the match. Like, you would have these moments of Io and Asuka going at it, just fucking throwing their best at each other, having, just phenomenal wrestling. And then Charlotte would just come in the ring and clean both of them out like they ain't shit. Like the one spot where she sat there and fucking chopped both of them back and forth like 20 fucking times. Like, really? These two is doing all kinds of moves and this, that, and the third. And then here comes Charlotte. Woo! 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 Fucking a whole minute just chopping them back and forth. Like, really? Yeah. And then, like you said, her basically no-selling the mist. I remember freaking a few months ago when Bianca caught the mist, she was freaking like she was never going to see again, screaming at the top of her lungs in the ring, and then backstage still freaking losing it. Oh, Charlotte gets the mist. Oh, she down for 5 minutes.
Yeah, they use it too much and too inconsistently.
Right, like they had these moments where they just made, again, it was so imbalanced where they just made Charlotte. They tried to make Charlotte look like she was just superior to the both of them, where those two could just throw everything they had at each other and be back and forth. But then Charlotte would just come in the ring and just beat the shit out of both of them until one of them managed to get a counter move to take her out briefly. And even one spot where Io hit a moonsault to the outside on Asuka. But Io did her moonsault from the middle rope, which, granted, she didn't quite land it perfectly, but she did her moonsault from the middle rope. And then, like, not even 3 minutes later, fucking Charlotte's doing a moonsault from the top turnbuckle to the outside. Like, this one-upsmanship and this desire, like, they use, like, okay, she's Charlotte Flair. She has to look like the top one in the match, whether she's going to win or not. It irked the living fuck out of me in this match. It absolutely irked the shit out of me, the way they had that book. But setting that aside, yeah, it was still a good match. And the other gripe I had with it was the fact that Bayley, as much as I love Bayley, the fact that she even interfered in this match at all. Because to me, that did Io no favors. Because Io's been the champion since what? Money in the Bank. Is it that she beat Bianca? Yeah, and yet she still doesn't quite seem like. It seems like she's still trying to earn her credibility because she can't win a match clean. Every time she's in a match, Bayley has to interfere, which leading to Io getting the win. And maybe it's just me, but if you're a champion, I can never see you as being truly legit and credible until you get a clean win. Until it's just you and somebody in the ring and you just beat them. And I get that they're heels and heels are supposed to do heel things and all that stuff. But we not about to sit here and act like we ain't seen heels win clean before over folks. Where they've just been shown like they're just the better person. Or they can manage to win on their own merits. Whether it's their own heelish tactics or their own, outsmarting their opponent or taking advantage of their opponent's miscue, being an opportunist or something of that nature where just you win the match yourself, not relying on outside interference. But again, to me, as long as Bayley's interfering in these matches, I'm going to struggle to see Io as being a credible champion as much as I like Io. And I really do like Io.
Well, I think that's eventually going to be the story, is either Io's going to get sick of Bayley or Bayley's going to finally interfere and cost her the title. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
the Io Bayley feud.
Yeah. But I don't know how far off that is.
I don't know, but it seems like they've been dragging that shit on for the longest time, too.
Well, Dakota Kai getting hurt, I don't think helped.
No, I think all the injuries were the real setbacks.
Yeah. Sure. But, I mean, do they have to wait until Dakota Kai is healthy for damage control to fall apart? Is there not... So, I mean, given that they're still keeping her on television, so she can be a part of the storyline as far as trying to keep those two together. Even if she's not actively wrestling, she can play a role in the story, like I said, of trying to keep the faction together despite these two clearly having increased tension with each other and growing apart. And if that's the storyline that they're going to do, I think they just kind of need to maybe pick up the pace with it a little bit.
That could be something they could be holding on to till WrestleMania, if anything. Which I could see at this point with Dakota Kai not being cleared yet, because she needs something when she comes back. She needs something. I mean, Bayley has tons of credibility. Io's on this, current women's title run. I mean, Dakota Kai needs something now. I mean, you want to take her as a serious threat in a triple threat match between Bayley and Io? She's got to come back and get something.
That's a valid point. Yeah, she would have to come back and rack up some wrestling credibility, some wrestling goodwill with the fans, like Bayley and Io have been doing in this time period. Mm-hmm. Sure, but man, I don't know if I want to see this storyline continue at this pace from now all the way to WrestleMania. That means we're looking at another 6 months of this. Mm-hmm. That is, I don't know if there's that much meat on the bone. Mm-hmm. I could see you maybe pushing this out to Survivor Series, maybe the Rumble at the most. But man, trying to drag all this all the way to freaking WrestleMania, eesh.
It does seem like a heavy lift,
right? That's a lot to ask out of this storyline.
It ain't that hot,
right? Yeah, it's interesting. It ain't that goddamn interesting.
Yeah.
Especially considering, there's still some other things on the horizon that, some other, I ain't gonna say other things on the horizon, but some other factors that have yet to play into the whole women's division. Most preeminent among those is at some point Bianca gonna be back.
Yeah.
And when Bianca come back, she gonna be immediately in the title picture, I would think. because she gonna want her lick back on that title because she never got that from when she lost it. She never got hers. Like, obviously we know that she's, on, more or less vacation, more or less from all the work she put in when she was champion, well deserved. But when we last left her, she had lost the title and she wanted to get her lick back, and she was kind of riffing with Charlotte because Charlotte just popped up and was just like, "I'm here, title match, please, thank you." So, that seems kind of, I don't know when Bianca's set to come back, but I would imagine she'd probably be back before the end of the year. I would be surprised if they held Bianca out all the way till next year.
Right.
Oh, I don't think they will.
No.
Right. So I imagine she's got to pop up in the picture at some point, and when she does, it's gonna be hard pressed trying to keep that title off of her. Because Bianca, one of the ones who has that instant championship credibility. Like, she could pull up at any moment and beat anybody for a title. So if she's pull up and decide that, she want that 1v1 with Io. Io ain't looking that strong. It'll be hard to try to convince me that Io gonna pull out the dub with anything other than, again, outside interference from Bayley, which, again, if Bayley interferes in that sense to help Io get a win over Bianca, I don't know that Io got too much grounds to be mad at that. That seemed like one of them times where she should be like, "Thank you, Bayley." Not like, "Why you up in my business, Bayley?" It's like, Io versus Asuka and Charlotte, I could see her being mad at like I could beat these two. I could take these two. If you just believe in me, I could have got that. Io versus Bianca is like, "Bayley, you want to come help me out?" She out here whooping my ass. Distract the ref, do something. But I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Doyle.
Any other final thoughts on the women's triple threat match?
No.
All right. And we move on to the semi-main event, I guess.
Yeah.
With perfect timing. Featuring John Cena and L.A. Knight. Yeah. Taking on the Bloodline members of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, with Paul Heyman finally having let go of the men's hair dye.
Yes.
Old man Heyman, full gray.
Dude, let's not forget that we got Pat McAfee come out with his custom Colts championship belt.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did come out with the Colts belt. He did come out. He did cut a little brief promo and then proceed to introduce John Cena to a absolutely huge pop, and LA Knight as well. This match was as standard as it gets. There was absolutely nothing special or unique about this match. This was paint by the fucking numbers. The heels beat Say what?
I wrote that down too.
Yeah, it really was, dude. It was just clean cut.
One babyface gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yep.
The other guy comes in as the hero, beats him up, gets the win. 1, 2, 3. Crowd cheers, goes wild. Everybody's goes home happy.
Yeah, I mean, LA Knight got the rub that he solely deserved, and from anybody than John Cena. I hope that this leads somewhere at some point, at some time with these two. But not too long ago, what's the word I'm looking for? The SCAG, the writer's strike is over. So the SAG, sorry, SCAG. The SAG,
SAG, yeah.
Yeah. The writer's strike is over. So I mean, but it's soon. John Cena's gonna be gone. So I guess if we're gonna get any feuds out of him besides this, I mean, are we gonna get some solo feuds, or another tag after this, because Survivor Series is coming up. Whether it's a one-on-one match with Jimmy, or a one-on-one with Solo even, or hell, a one-on-one with L.A. Knight. Yeah.
I would imagine that I don't see them doing that much with them, because I don't think we're going to see John Cena past Survivor Series. Like right now, the writer's strike has ended, but the writers have said that they're not going to return to work until the Screen Actors Guild strike is also resolved. So that in and of itself is enabling, and obviously the SAG strike itself is why Cena is still with WWE for the time being. And then he's already said that, once that ends, then he's going to have to return to work and stuff. So, and I believe the WWE, it's been reported that the WWE does have an out for whenever this should end, should the strike end prior to whatever WWE's current plans are for Cena, which I imagine, again, I think they have plans for him probably through Survivor Series, and anything past that would just be cherry on top, if anything at all. So they probably have an out by then. So my guess is they're tentatively slotting him into the War Games match, because that's a match that he can participate in. He can bring his star power to that match while having to do minimal work in that type of match. He wouldn't have to carry the load like he would in a one-on-one match, or even in a tag team match like he did in this one, where he really did kind of carry the load, because he was the one who got the shit kicked out of him for 15 of them 17 minutes. So that's where I would imagine that they'd be going with Cena in this regard. And you were right in the sense that the match did what it needed to do, as far as building LA Knight as a main event, top tier babyface. He did what all top tier babyfaces do: sit on the sideline and watch their friend get their ass whooped until they finally tag me in so I could save them and be the hero. That's what he did. But Doyle, what are your thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, this was another
night?
SmackDown match. It was kind of fun to see Cena as the babyface in peril. With La Knight in shining armor, coming in, getting the hot tag. And having La Knight getting wins on pay-per-view and standing with Cena and showing respect to Cena. I mean, that's what you have to do. It's building a babyface one-on-one. But, the match had no signature moment or anything that made it memorable, really, in any way. And I have no idea what it does for the bad guys. But, yeah, I mean, it did what it needed to do. But it could have been on SmackDown, Yeah. Cena, though, you mentioned Cena having a singles match. Cena's almost on a 2,000-day losing streak in a singles match.
John Cena.
He hasn't won a singles match since he beat Triple H on April 17th, 2018, at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which was over 5 years ago.
But still, at the end of the day, this is why we still call him John Cena.
Yeah, and they got to stop with this goat shit. I mean,
really, they do.
You had Rey Mysterio. His outfit also said goat. You can't have two goats, especially at the same time. It's just like, if everybody's the goat, nobody's the goat.
Exactly. I don't know what the plural term is for goats.
Or over goat.
Is it just goats? Do they have a special term for a pack of goats?
I think
I don't know. Is it a collage or some weird fucking word?
Yeah. Too many goats spoils the herd or something. Yeah, Kimmy can't have it. But they got to knock it off with the goat stuff.
They really do. They really fucking do. Like, yeah. As far as the bloodline goes, I mean, Jimmy and Solo taking the L again. Yeah, it doesn't do anything for them other than make them look inept. Just in time for Roman to come back this Friday and lay down the motherfucking law.
Yeah.
Because folk been talking real reckless without the tribal chief around. Like we saw this past Friday on SmackDown, Rhea having her little 1v1 with Paul Heyman, telling Paul,
God, how great is Paul Heyman?
Huh?
How great is Paul Heyman?
Oh yeah,
dude, fucking unsung hero. If he don't go into the Hall this upcoming year for WrestleMania, somebody is failed miserably.
Yeah, he definitely is. I'm
especially
glad
in Philly.
Yeah,
in Philly.
Yeah,
he gotta go in Philly.
Shit, this year would be nice. Next year would be nice, and
that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
Perfect, man.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Next year in Philly, that's the perfect time for Paul to go in.
Yes,
but yeah, like I said, fucking Rhea out here talking about acknowledge her and shit, talking real reckless without the tribal chief around.
Mm-hmm.
Talking real reckless, and then Jimmy and Solo out here losing.
Yeah, who's not losing their
it's
shit?
time for Roman to come back and lay down the motherfucking law on people. Like, he need to come back on his Roy Jones. Y'all must have forgot.
Let's say, who hasn't lost their stuff is Rhea. Seems like she's been the only one who's been able to hold on to what's hers.
Well, she also has Roman Reigns syndrome, where she
lose, but you can't lose. But
almost
you don't
never, almost never defends the title.
Right,
just going to God mode. Yeah,
can't lose it if it ain't ever on the line.
Yeah, ain't that the fucking truth? Yeah.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on the LA Knight World Tour 2023?
No.
Well, who gets the Saudi match with Roman? Like, do they hotshot LA Knight in there?
Nah.
Like,
no,
they can't.
No way.
Like, it's way
they don't want to kill his momentum by doing something like that, by having him in that type of match too early. Nah. Something like that can work at times, but I don't know. I don't even know if the industry can work like that anymore. Because, I kind of thought of, like, Sting versus Flair, the first Clash of the Champions, where Sting was the red-hot babyface.
Yeah.
But was still the up-and-comer against the veteran Flair. This isn't really that dynamic. Like, LA Knight's not a young up-and-comer. Like, it's been
he's in his 40s.
Very well and openly. Yeah, it's been well and openly talked about his age and how much that is a factor. So he's got the white hot aspect, but he doesn't have the inexperienced thing working for him, where you could shotgun him into a match like that and then play the experience angle as for being the reason why he can't win. So yeah, no, I wouldn't see that. I don't know who the fuck they gonna throw in there against Roman, honestly, at the Saudi show, but it'll be somebody. I don't know.
Jinder Mahal.
AJ? Could it be AJ?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, they sacrifice AJ Styles to him.
No. Yeah, but they will.
Think about it. Last we saw AJ, what happened?
He's Solo wrecked by the bloodline.
Right, Solo fucking dumped his ass out on the outside, so he's about due to come back and want to get his lick back.
And it's easy enough to heat him back up to make him a legit
right
title contender.
Exactly, and it's very believable that he could come back and immediately set his eyes on Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
and want to challenge him for the title and get the match. Yep.
Anyway.
So, moving on to our main event of the evening. We got Seth freaking Rollins defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match. This match went on for almost a half hour.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. 28 minutes.
Yeah. And for the most part, was a pretty good match. Honestly, I don't have any real issues with the match other than the finish. The finish of the match was the only thing I didn't like. But other than that, I thought it was a good match. I thought Shinsuke looked hella strong, just absolutely beating the snot out of Seth Rollins. I did think Seth Rollins was kind of overselling it a bit, though. I will say that. Something about with you're getting beat up in your back like that, and yet you still got the capacity to just flop around like that. It's like, dude, it's your back. You should be barely fucking moving. But yeah, every time he gets hit, he's twisting and contorting the flesh. Like, that's not how back pain works, dude. Like,
his back also felt well enough to celebrate after winning the match too.
Right. Like that's just kind of, again, but that's just a minor gripe. And like I said, in what was otherwise a very good match, outside of the finish, which saw Seth Rollins, after getting the dog snot beat out of him for most of this match and only getting sporadic moments of offense, but otherwise wearing a total and complete thorough ass whooping, just deciding that I'm going to go Super Rollins now and pedigree stomp, Falcon Arrow, yo ass can't get up no more, Shinsuke. Didn't like that finish. Didn't like that finish at all. I don't like imbalanced stuff like that, especially in a last man standing match. The thinking is that these two are going to beat the hell out of each other, and then somehow one of them just happens to make the 10 count. But at the end, they should both be fairly equally beat up and fairly equally spent. Think like freaking Roman Reigns versus Lesnar at SummerSlam last year in their last man standing match. They both gave each other the absolute business, setting aside fucking forklifts and tilted rings and all that shit. Just those two beat the fuck out of each other, and it took freaking, the whole bloodline dumping half the fucking ringside on Lesnar to keep him down. But prior to that, they were giving it to each other equally, and they were both equally struggling to make the 10 count. This one was almost entirely dominated by Shinsuke Nakamura, and Seth Rollins repeatedly coming up with one way after another to try to beat the 10 count in some ways that were actually genuinely creative that I liked. Like the one time where he was down in the ring and it almost seemed like he wasn't going to make the 10 count, but he managed to make it by literally rolling to the outside and putting his feet on the floor because he couldn't stand up. I thought that was, I'll give him credit to that one. That was an actual really creative way of making the 10 count. But again, aside from that, he got his shit kicked in the whole fucking match damn near. But he just had a Super Cena moment where it's like, all right, I'm gonna hit you with these 3 moves, and somehow Shinsuke can't make a 10 count. Like, that I didn't like. But, Wayne, what'd you think of the match?
I liked it. It was, it was all over the arena, which I like when these kind of matches are all over the place, not secluded to one area. You can tell they have a couple spots picked out within the crowd. The spot where he falls off the steps onto the quote-unquote mattress, that gigantic
Did you see the reverse angle of that?
I did see that.
Where he very clearly landed on a fucking mattress.
Yes. There was a lot of good spots. You get the trash can, you have the ladder, you have the use of the announcer's table. Basically, like, if you're playing in the 2K game, like, this guy used everything that was given to him. The curb stomp. For Shinsuke, this is a great match for this guy. You can say you don't gain anything when you lose. I think he definitely gained some respect here. I mean, he lost the feud. I mean, but it shows that Shinsuke, don't take your eye off this guy. He may have failed today, but doesn't mean he's not a threat to be taken lightly. Oh God, some of these spots I've seen the Falcon Arrow off of the I guess where the fans were up on this balcony here. I'm catching bits and pieces of it. Just how much longer are we looking at Seth Rollins? With his title reign here. Survivor Series, end of the year, is he going to be holding it to Rumble? Like, we don't got much more to go till we're at the end of the year already. So, I'm really interested to see if I assume this feud is done and over with. Let's see where it goes. See what's next.
Mm-hmm. I'll speak to that after Doyle chimes in with your thoughts on the match, Doyle.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect Seth to hang on to this title past SummerSlam. And honestly, I kind of think they're doing this title a disservice by not swapping it around, kind of hot-shotting it around even. I thought it'd be nice if 3 people had held it by now. Because, it was clearly a Seth Rollins booby prize because no one's beating Roman anytime soon. But he's just held on to it and held on to it. The title has no identity. No one else has had it, So I was kind of disappointed to see Seth hang on to it, even though I do really like Seth. But, last man standing, not my favorite stipulation. I think I probably say this every time. It's nice that the crowd gets into it with the counting, but it just breaks up the flow of the match because you constantly are starting and stopping. And there were cool spots, Wayne said, in the match. And you can edit together a cool video package and make it look really cool. But it was just kind of like a lot of these last man standing matches, kind of repetitive and dull. It was just Shin beating the fuck out of Rollins. Another missed shot. 40% of the matches on this card had a missed shot. We had the world's most obviously pre-cut table that Seth went through on the outside at one point.
A perfect line down the middle.
Yeah, right? But, Seth keeps getting up until he hits a couple big moves on Shin, and Shin can't get up. And how goofy did he look? Falling down at 9.5 or whatever. That whole thing, I did not like the finish at all.
Oh, yeah.
To echo what Dre said. But then the take away any external force that this match may have had with Damian Priest, you just take it away, and I'm done kind of giving a shit about Damian Priest and his stupid briefcase. Last pay-per-view, he took himself out of the title match because he said he was going out celebrating winning the tag titles. So now you no longer have the specter of, is this the night that he's going to cash in tonight? Rhea wouldn't let him. It's just like, what? Why not have Damian Priest come? Remember when he first got the thing, he was involved in every title match. He was always coming out, always lurking, and then completely abandoned that. And in fact, he's specifically going, you know what, I'm not going to do it tonight. So, I mean, it was not a great pay-per-view. I think the worst show of the year. And what is... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping... one last point about Priest. I'm sorry. I wrote this down. What is he so afraid of? I mean, how much more beat down does the champion need to be? He's got 4 fucking people helping him on top of that. What?
Talk about it.
Are we gonna surprise Seth in the shower someday? It's like what, like the 24/7 championship? What is he gonna be asleep some night? What else does it has to happen before he finally pulls the trigger? But yeah, not a great show overall. And talk about telling anybody that might have been considering skipping a show that looked like maybe it was skippable, that they probably made the right decision. But I'm afraid of where Shinsuke goes now. Is he back to the mid card? Is he an Intercontinental title contender? Is he jobbing to Santos Escobar? What's he doing? Where does he go from here? I don't know.
Yeah, see, that is the problem with feuds like this, where you build a guy up like this to be a credible challenger to the title, but he doesn't come through. What do you do with him afterwards? What's left for him? Does he just disappear back into obscurity again, or what have you? Which is why, and I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna address the big fucking elephant in the room.
Right.
When Judgment Day lost them tag titles on the first match of the card, everybody in they damn mama thought the same thing. Damian's cashing in tonight. Everybody thought it. It seemed written right there in just neon lights. Dame's cashing in. This is it. This is the night where it's going to happen. And I get that sometimes you don't want to subvert expectations. You want to, when everybody thinks you're going right, you go left. But damn it, sometimes you go right because that's the direction that the fucking road goes. You don't go off road. You're in a goddamn Ferrari. You're on the road goes right. Follow the goddamn road because it just makes sense. And this was the show for Damian Priest to cash in the Money in the Bank. This was it. This was the moment. This was more so of the moment than people thought Cody winning at WrestleMania was the moment. This was that much more obvious and seemingly needed to happen. You already had.
So what if he's going to bum knee? Like, Seth's going to go out and get this shit kicked. Whoever wins that match is going to have had the shit beat out of him.
Right.
And he's got all these people helping him.
Everything was laid out and stacked up. Seth Rollins, since Shinsuke's been beating the shit out of Seth Rollins for the last month and a half, he's had 2 grueling matches. You built this whole storyline up of his back being injured, Shinsuke Nakamura's targeting it, wearing him down, and then you put him in, of all things, a last man standing match. A match that is designed to push competitors to their absolute limit to where they can barely fucking stand. And then you have this beast of a human and Damian Priest waiting in the wings with the perfect thing to take advantage of it all. The Money in the Bank briefcase. To come out there at the end, cash in on this guy who spent an entire match barely making fucking 10 counts. You come out there, you stomp his ass out, you fuck his back up even more. South of heaven, he couldn't make a 10 count. He damn sure ain't kicking out at 3. Mm-hmm. And then if you're worried about Shinsuke Nakamura, again, if it was me writing the storyline, I would have had it booked, even factoring in Shinsuke Nakamura and keeping him competitive, because I would have had Damian cash in and win the Money in the Bank briefcase, and we end the show with him having lost the tag champion and then become world heavyweight champion in the same night. Fucking beautiful. Fucking epic. You end on that. Judgment Day, you think they're down, they're right back on top. And even higher than they were before. Traded out tag titles for the big one, for the world heavyweight championship. Boom. So that's how you end the show. Tonight on Raw, you know what I would have had happen next? I would have had either Damian. I probably would have had Rhea Ripley. Now, the more and more I think about it, when I initially thought about this, I was thinking going either Damian Priest or Rhea, but now I think it would have been more Rhea, because Rhea's kind of been the official leader of the Judgment Day. I would have had Rhea meet backstage with Shinsuke Nakamura and basically close the deal, and have it be revealed that all of this was part of Rhea Ripley's plan. Like she basically contracted Shinsuke Nakamura to soften up Seth Rollins for Damian Priest to cash in and win the Money in the Bank briefcase. Make it seem like she was her plan the whole time. Like she pays a money or handshake agreement or what have you. Like you did your job well. Appreciate you doing business with the Judgment Day. So she looks like a mastermind, just almost like a women's version of Paul Heyman.
Right.
A mastermind behind the scenes and manipulating things, and do it in a way where the audience knows this is what happened, but Damian Priest doesn't know. Damian Priest thinks he won the title legit. He thinks he just seized the opportunity that was presented before him. He doesn't realize that all this was actually low-key kind of engineered by Rhea Ripley. And then this is done with the premise and the agreement that Rhea would have made for Shinsuke was that you do this for us, you get the first crack at Damian Priest for the title. But then she reneges. She reneges on it. She's like, nah, you won't get no title shot. Fuck you. We got what we wanted out of you. We used you. We're done with you. Now, Shinsuke's pissed off, and he's damn sure going to target the Judgment Day now. That would probably be more than enough to flip him back to being a babyface, and that sets up your first feud with Damian Priest as champion, where he's now defending against an enraged Shinsuke Nakamura, who didn't have whose promise was not delivered to him. And throughout that feud, Damian Priest eventually realizes that what Rhea Ripley did, furthering the tension between him and Rhea and all them in the Judgment Day, possibly leading to his eventual oust from Judgment Day, setting up him to become a face at some point while Judgment Day becomes even greater heels, and they eventually probably cost him the title and get the title off of him into somebody like a Finn Balor. Finn Balor finally gets his title reign legitimately. Like, there were so many levels of goddamn storytelling that you could have done with this shit.
And it all seems wasted.
But
so
nope,
soon.
Seth just had to fucking win again. He just had to have Super Rollins instead. And there you could have just had some great multi-layered storytelling involving multiple people in prominent roles that they haven't been typically featured in. Could have some great goddamn television on Raw. Goddamn it, cut me my fucking check. Where's my job at?
Hey, I know we're going off a little bit. Well, not really off subject. We're wrapping up the pay-per-view here. We're going to just get into some, like, news and shit that's happened since the pay-per-view. And some off-the-cuff stuff. But, hey, I want to kind of cleanse the palate here. I'm going to give you guys... I want to give you guys some facts, right? Now, are these things that Hulk Hogan said? Or not things that Hulk Hogan said, but things that Hulk Hogan has done, he's claimed he's done, or things that Chuck Norris has done? Alright? So, I was thinking about this in the middle of the show, because I have been recently watching, you can basically go on YouTube or TikTok or whatever and watch interviews with Hulk Hogan. And, I can't really specifically pick out one, maybe like the Joe Rogan one or something, but like, it's just ridiculous the shit that he says. Mike Tyson was afraid to face him in a boxing match. Was that Chuck Norris or was that Hulk Hogan?
Chuck Norris, but Hulk Hogan lied about it.
Doyle.
I would say Hulk Hogan said that.
That is a Hulk Hogan fact. You are correct. He was supposed to be the face of the George Foreman Grill. Hulk Hogan or Chuck Norris?
Hulk Hogan.
Oh,
I remember Hogan saying that. I remember that was originally supposed to be the Hulk Hogan Grill, but he turned it down. So they went to George Foreman next.
In 1990, his films...
Hogan had a pasta maker. You remember that?
Oh, dude, I do.
Yeah, that was his consolation prize after he realized how fucking successful the George Foreman Grill was. He was like, "Shit, I missed the bag. Who else got something out here? We got a pasta maker. Fuck it, I'll go for it."
In 1990, his films have already reached $500 million worldwide. Hulk Hogan or Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
That is a Chuck Norris fact.
I say, does Hogan even have a $5 million film?
Yeah,
right. He wrote his own movie scripts. Hulk Hogan or Chuck Norris?
Okay, this is a trick question because you said movie scripts, so I'm going to go with Chuck Norris. If you would have just said scripts, period, I probably would have gone with Hulk Hogan because I'm pretty sure Thunder in Paradise was some shit written by Hulk Hogan. But since you said movie scripts, I'm going to go with Chuck Norris.
Doyle?
I'm going to go with Hogan just to be different.
It was Hogan.
Yes.
Featured in the World of Warcraft video games, he was part of the advertisements in 2011. Was that Hogan or Chuck Norris?
Oh, that was Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
I remember those commercials.
I got one more for you guys. He claims he could have played for the New York Yankees. Hogan or Chuck Norris?
That sounds like some dumbass Hogan shit.
Yeah, Doyle.
What's that?
Doyle, what do you think?
Oh, it's Hogan.
Yeah, totally Hogan.
You know what? Before we jump into news, there's something we totally forgot to talk about in regards to the Fastlane PLE, and it was probably arguably the best thing about the whole damn show. And that is, we should have talked about this at the very fucking beginning. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso being drunk as fuck at the post conference.
I don't think they were drunk. I think they were. I think they were high as shit. Either way,
I think they said that they were. I think they said they were drunk.
Yeah, I read a couple places they said they were high, and I don't know. Either way, it looks.
Either way, they was lit.
Yeah, they were having a good time. Yeet. So yeah, I definitely recommend people to go check that out on social media. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean those things are generally a big waste of time, but every now and then there's something of note that happens at one of those things.
Yeah,
the most entertaining thing that's actually come out of any of those press conferences, because like you just said, Doyle, normally they're just snooze fests where we get a couple of sound bites from Triple H about something, and that's it.
Yeah, occasionally there might be maybe in a couple weeks you'll see something about, or a hint of something.
Yeah,
but every now and then somebody gets drunk or goes on some diatribe about something.
Those two showing up just completely lit and clearly far from sober, and just cutting a fool at that press conference made for good, harmless entertainment. In my opinion, and clearly only guys of their stature could get away with some shit like that. Like, if fucking Xavier and Kofi show up at the damn press conference drunk, they're fucking suspended the next day. But freaking Cody and Jay can just be up there just yeet. And just completely cutting a fool, and it just goes viral, and it's just nothing but positive news for the WWE.
What other news do you guys want to talk about? You guys want to talk about that dude that got fired the other day, bro? Right after episode 2. How about that shit?
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
The guy who grabbed the mic.
Do you see the video? The video's out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw enough of it to realize, he was tripping.
Yeah.
And then tried to blame it, and see, when you hear when the story first came out about he was, sexually assaulted by the security people.
Yeah, it sounded fishy.
It was one of those things that didn't, like you said, it didn't pass the smell test from the jump. So you're like, hold up. Nah, there's got to be something more to this. And then that video comes out, it's like, you knew you fucked up. So you had to come up with some shit to try to buy you some time, or that, I don't know, maybe in your zooted out mind, you thought management was going to actually believe this shit. But yeah, he done. I don't. Yeah,
so now,
he gonna be on the indie scene for a while. I don't even know if AEW is gonna touch him after, or really any significant promotion will probably touch him after something like that. I don't even know if Impact will fuck with him after a story like this comes out. He might be pure indie scene for a good while until this thing blows over. Although apparently some story came out that apparently he's coming out with his own strand of weed.
Yeah,
there's that. I think he's going to fight Jake Paul. I heard that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's going to be a boxing match or a MMA fight or where
I would imagine
happen.
Yeah, I would imagine probably a boxing match, because Jake Paul doesn't seem to have any interest in doing anything outside of boxing. Like, every time he steps in the ring, it's pretty much a boxing match, even though he'll drag people from other martial arts disciplines into his ring or to his arena of boxing. He ain't willing to go up in nobody else's arena and throw down with them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, that would be a boxing match, apparently, according to Google.
So, let's talk about the elephant in the fucking room here. Edge went to AEW. Holy shit.
Who the fuck is Edge?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I saw some dude named Adam up there the other day.
Yeah, Adam Copeland. I really love the moment with him and Christian Cage the other day. Go fuck yourself. It was perfect. I'm like,
I think Christian spoke for us all.
Yeah, I was like, cool, this is how we're doing it. I like it. I mean, it was just so obvious. Everybody thinks they're just going to get back together. Like, no. If they're going to go out, let them go out on their own terms against each other. They've done the tag team thing. Let's Christian's actually doing something right now. You know? Like, Edge.
Christian's one of the best heels in AEW right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know eventually they're going to reconcile and come back together. But for now, let them beef. Let those two really go at it without, and actually have some control over how they want to tell their story, as opposed to having Vince or somebody tell their story for them in terms of this. I think they've earned that. I think this is going to be it should be very entertaining, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. So, with us getting Jade Cargill and them getting Adam Copeland, I think we still have another person on the way. I don't know, man. Every day, the idea of CM Punk coming back seems logical. Every day. Like, it just seems very possible. I don't know. I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I'm trying not to get excited. But anything is fucking possible in this company. What do you guys think?
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he was talking to WWE before he signed the AEW deal. They just offered him a little more money, I think, so he took that instead. So it's not like, and he was just there a couple months ago, right? Yeah,
right. Yeah,
backstage and I guess he got asked to leave, but no incidences, nothing. So, and of course, you never say never, and. How many other people have done all kinds of things and been welcomed back. But that being said, I don't personally ever need to see him again. He's such a pain in the ass. He's not even that great in the ring anymore. He certainly had lost a step or two. No real great matches in AEW. I don't know what he would bring at this point. I really don't. I don't think he's a mentor. I don't think he's good for the young kids. I mean, and by young kids, I mean young wrestlers. I don't care a tick about anyone's children. But I mean, I just don't see what any upside would be to bringing him back. I really don't.
Yep, I'm in 100% agreement with you, Doyle, because I don't know what the hell Seth. I don't know what the hell CM Punk could bring to the current WWE product other than a name, other than just being a big name. Like, I can't think of anybody on the roster that I would want to see him in a dream match with. Not even somebody like a Seth Rollins. Even if part of me thinks that there could be potential in a feud like that, I just don't trust that the in-ring product would be a worthy payoff. I feel like it would just ultimately be the other person, especially somebody like Seth, probably having to carry Seth Rollins through a match, and it would probably not live up to what people had dreamt up in their minds of a CM Punk from 10 years ago versus a current Seth Rollins, and that's not what we would get. And the thing that seemed so kind of, I guess you could call it revolutionary-ish, or just kind of unique to Seth. I keep fucking saying Seth Rollins. God damn. Fucking Freudian bullshit. But to CM Punk at the time, when he was cutting these somewhat fourth wall breaking promos in WWE, that's, to him back then it was kind of taboo or kind of a unique thing. It's not as unique anymore.
Right.
Like, other people do that now. Fourth wall gets broken or cracked almost all the time now in promos. So he comes in and does that. Like, it ain't really that whole ooh factor that it used to be. It's not that. So,
and I mean, he's just such a chronic malcontent.
Right. And I damn sure don't see him being humble enough to want to come in and give up-and-comers the rub by jobbing out to them. He's going to want his wins, which means people are going to have to be sacrificed to him. Mm-hmm. He's going to take a spot on the main roster or in programs or in matches that should arguably be going to up and coming talent that could be taking that next step to the next level. You know, how pissed off are people going to be if Seth Rollins is in a match that people feel LA Knight should be in?
Mm-hmm.
You know, shit like that.
Right. Plus, I mean, like when he left before, when he quit for, what was it, 7 years, 9, whatever it was. He left because he was unhappy, right? He was unhappy with a 400-plus day title reign. He was unhappy wrestling The Undertaker at WrestleMania. You know, like, what could they possibly offer him that would make, like, is the one that ends Roman Reigns' streak? Would that be enough to make him happy? And God, that'd be a colossal fucking huge mistake.
Ooh, would it?
But, like, what else is there? What else could they offer him that's going to keep him happy? That's going to keep the fucking pacifier in his mouth?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Because we know he's shown time and time again, the moment he's unhappy, he becomes a problem. And
and they gave him the fucking moon and the stars the last time he was there, and he was unhappy with that.
And who the hell wants to deal with that? Who wants to sit here and read all the backstage stories or hear all the news reports of Seth Rollins upset backstage? Seth Rollins got into it with so and so backstage. Mm-hmm. Was there a fight between fucking goddamn Seth Rollins, CM Punk being upset backstage, or CM Punk, did he get into a fight with so and so backstage, or that? Like, I don't care to hear about or see any of that drama. I just don't. I think the WWE's current product is perfectly fine without CM Punk.
Yeah, and could you imagine him at one of these press conferences that they do now, saying the stuff he said with Tony Khan sitting next to him? Can you imagine him saying that stuff with Triple H sitting next to him?
Triple H will punch that motherfucker dead in the goddamn face in the press conference.
That's what I'm saying.
Either that or somebody else would come out in a press or come out immediately after him and completely tear into whatever he said. Mm-hmm. Like, I could see him saying some off the cuff shit, and then somebody like a Seth Rollins or a Cody coming out afterwards and completely tearing him a new one because they know they got way more stroke than he does at the moment. Like, it's probably going to happen, but I can't help but feel like it's a bad idea.
No, I'm with you.
I got a bad feeling about this. So, what other news you guys got?
Well, I got a question for y'all.
Shoot.
That I'll pose to you all. In light of two major signings by our respective top two companies in American wrestling, with Jade Cargill coming to WWE and Adam Copeland going to AEW, I'll pose this question to y'all. Which one, and it's a two-parter, which one do you think is the bigger signing, and which wrestler, which superstar do you think will have a bigger impact on their respective company?
Oh, man.
Or their respective new found home?
Well, I mean, look, you got one that's a legend, a Hall of Famer, that's basically getting ready to wrap up his career, that he has, a handful of good matches probably left in him. Hopefully his feud isn't wasted. His time there isn't wasted. But then you got somebody who's just beginning their career. I mean, granted, I think AEW was a good way to get your feet moving. Now they always say, don't run before you can walk. I think she was at that jogging pace, so she's ready to step it up, and there's so many feuds I'm like so excited to see. Like, so many women on that roster that's going to be getting an ass whooping. Hopefully they strap the fucking rocket to her and take her all the way. Hopefully this time next year, she's in like a title scene or champ even. I know that's crazy to think, but 1 year, so much shit can happen in a year. She could have a huge showing at the Rumble this year. And yeah, Adam. I mean, like, dude, there's like so many feuds. Like he mentioned right off the bat when he got there, like other people he wants to wrestle, and I'm so excited for it. Like, don't fucking. I don't. If I have to see him wrestle anybody he's already wrestled before, it's gonna be Christian Cage. I don't care for anybody else. I don't want to see him and Jericho versus each other or something stupid. Like I've seen that. I've seen it. Put over some other guys. Let's see some fucking new feuds. And hell, he even mentioned that AEW title would look very nice around his waist. And I was like, oh shit, another title run. Let's see it. But yeah, I don't know. I think both companies are going to benefit. They're going to get more run out of it with Jade. Then, Edge is probably going to be sticking around, I don't know, 3 years maybe. He probably signed a contract for 5 at the longest. I mean, isn't that what the average AEW wrestler or WWE wrestler who went to AEW were signing like 5-year contracts? Because I think we're roughly getting around some of those contracts ending soon. I think like guys like Rusev, his contract might be coming up soon in AEW. I don't know about Adam Cole and Britt Baker, people like that even. But hopefully more and more of this happens. I mean, they took care of Cody Rhodes, and I know, like, oh, well, Cody Rhodes was one of their boys before AEW. I'm like, yeah, true. But when he left and went to AEW, I didn't think he was ever going to come back. But no, they've taken very good care of him, and it seems like they're going to take very good care of her. And, Tony Khan on AEW seems like a kid playing in his sandbox right now. So now he's got Adam Copeland in his collection. He's got both the Hardy Boys, and he's got Edge and Christian. So he's just 2 Dudley Boys away from recreating something. So.
Oh, please, God.
TLC 4.
Oh God, he's doing it, man. He's fucking doing it. He's like, all right, I got Matt Hardy, I got Jeff Hardy. He goes, now I got Christian now. He goes, now I got Edge. He goes, oh God. He's like, can I get the Dudley Boys? Come out of retirement.
That'd be bad.
I'll say they just popped up at fucking Impact. They had Impact 1000 and did a match.
Yeah.
So I mean, Bubba Ray hasn't retired. It was Devon was the one who was retired and then came out for that Impact 1000. But
yeah, apparently he wants to keep going.
Yeah, and I imagine for the right amount of cash, they would damn sure do that at like a fucking Bound for Glory or some dumb shit.
Yeah.
But Doyle, what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I think without question, the answer to both questions is Jade Cargill. And I think, I agree, everything, Wayne, that you said, I agree with, but I think you're kind of looking at it all wrong. The absolute pinnacle, the highest achievement a professional wrestler can have is to have people that aren't wrestling fans know who they are, right? That's never, ever, ever going to be Edge. It certainly could be Jade Cargill. She absolutely could be someone that can cross over into the mainstream, and people know The Rock, people know Stone Cold, people knew Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. We're talking the absolute top people. Nobody knows who Adam Cole is. You know what I mean? Nobody knows who Kenny Omega is. Maybe Chris Jericho is one of the only guys over there that's in that class. They're never going to grow somebody, AEW, that is never going to make somebody into that. And into that category. They may make somebody who goes to WWE and then becomes a member of that class, but they're never going to be able to produce that type of person, and WWE can and will. And I mean, just her look alone, is so, unique, and they can exploit that in a way that AEW couldn't even conceive of, So I think if just on that alone, who has the potential to make it into the mainstream, it's Jade Cargill for sure.
Yeah, I hear what both of you all are saying, and I'm not saying I disagree with you all at all, because I don't. But I think I think we're slightly understating. Hold on. Excuse me. But yeah, I think we're slightly understating. Huh?
Wayne jinxed you. He said you sounded better.
I know, right? As soon as I got something to say, my throat decides to want to dry up. But I think we are slightly understating the impact that Edge can potentially have in AEW. Again, I'm not saying that it could be bigger than Jade Cargill, because I think what some people are thinking is because Jade Cargill can become a bigger star in WWE, I think people are kind of equating being a bigger star, becoming a higher profile star, to having a bigger impact. And I don't quite see the two the same way. Like, obviously, Jade Cargill has far greater growth potential in WWE than Adam Copeland has in AEW. That goes without question. She could become bigger in WWE than Adam Copeland ever was in WWE as Edge. That's for certain. But can her growth really translate to impact for that company? Like, what can she really do that other top divas aren't already doing for WWE?
Right.
However, thinking of Adam Copeland in AEW, one thing I think he can do, and it might not be an immediate thing, but it could be something small that grows over time. What he can do is, so he can bring some eyes to AEW that were never on the product before. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody's coming from AEW to check out WWE because Jade Cargill is there. But there may be some people who, even if they don't tune in to AEW every week, they may, at the very least, keep tabs on it just to see what Adam Copeland is doing in that company. Oh, fuck me.
Damn.
But they may, like I said, they may decide to just keep tabs to see, okay, what's Edge done this week? What's this? Some little clip with him may go viral online. Like, I didn't watch him on Dynamite when he debuted, but I definitely saw the interview in the promo that he cut with Christian on YouTube. And just that little bit could be a seed in some people's eyes where they're casually just keeping tabs on what Adam Copeland is doing in AEW. And by proxy, if he's booked right, and if he has some good quality matches or good programs with other people, that could translate into people starting to have an interest in AEW that they did not have before through Edge. So again, I think in terms of who can have the bigger impact, I'm actually kind of leaning towards Adam Copeland could have the bigger impact on AEW than Jade Cargill could have on WWE. Because she could become huge in her own right, yes. But I don't know that she can become big enough to move the needle for WWE the way Adam Copeland can potentially move the needle over the long term for AEW.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I don't think you're wrong, but I think we're going to see a lot of people going back and forth, and you could probably say similar things about them as well.
Sure.
I mean, I bet, I think the AEW fan is more provincial. I think a lot of people watch both, but I think if out of the two, the one that's more likely to only watch one is the AEW folks. But I bet some of them watched WWE for the first time in years when Cody went, So I think that's maybe a two-way street. And, you might see the same thing, he said Rusev or whatever, if he ends up coming back or whoever. This is going to continue, as long as AEW remains a major player. You're going to see guys and gals going back and forth. And their respective fan bases with them, I would think.
When you say that you think the AEW fan is more provincial, or I think was the term you used, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I think more WWE fans watch both than AEW fans. Like, I feel like there's more people that only watch AEW and do not watch WWE because it's too mainstream or too produced or whereas I think more people. I don't think I'm explaining.
No, I get what I get exactly what you're saying.
I feel like the AEW fans are more hardcore wrestling fans.
Yeah,
If that makes it, they're more apt to know all the indie stuff and whatever.
Yeah,
and maybe I won't the WWE's children's stuff. I don't watch that.
Definitely, I think you're 100% dead on with that. I don't know if necessarily of terms of who exclusively watches what, needle tilts towards AEW more so, because honestly, I think there may be a considerable amount of people who only watch WWE and don't watch AEW, not necessarily because they dislike it, but just because they think AEW is an inferior product and they don't have the same level of attachment to those AEW people or investment in those AEW people because they're not as known as the WWE people, whereas, those people have been invested in WWE for years. They followed those storylines for years, those people from years, maybe have even watched some of those people come up through NXT into the main roster. But at the same time, I do 100% agree with you that that AEW fan is definitely the more hardcore wrestling fan. That person who watches AEW and only AEW.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. I was overcomplicating things.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I totally understood what you were saying. Like, they are probably the more hardcore fan. They're that person who used to watch WWE back in the day, were probably like huge CM Punk fans and shit like that.
Right, exactly.
And were marks, but just became disgruntled with the product, probably hated the whole Super Cena booking and all that stuff, and hated how Vince was booking things and this, that, and the third, and just became so disgruntled with the product that they started tuning out. And then once AEW popped up on the scene, they were just immediately all in on it because it wasn't WWE. Just because it was some mainstream competitor to WWE, especially when they had Cody, a guy that they felt like was probably like, ousted by WWE, and he's kind of he was almost like the face of anti-WWE for a while.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, I bet there's some of those guys that tuned into WWE for the first time in years because of Cody. And likewise, I think there's the WWE fan that never even really heard of AEW, but now, this is where Edge went? Okay, maybe I'll go check it out. It goes both ways, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to just continue to. I think you can say that about anybody. I'm sure Daniel Bryan drew eyes. And whoever the next big thing to come the other way. I don't think it's going to be Brian Pillman Jr. But maybe we'll end up being Jade Cargill or whatever. I'm sure there's people that will go back because I want to follow that. I really like that person, and I want to follow them here, there, ever.
Sure, yeah. Obviously, as names move back and forth between, there will be some level of gravitation. But if I'm speaking just between Edge and Jade Cargill in terms of which one is going to bring more of their fan base to the other product, I'm more inclined to say that Edge will bring more WWE watchers to the AEW product than Jade Cargill would bring AEW watchers to the WWE product, because for as popular as Jade Cargill is, she is still heavily criticized for being not that great in the ring. And those people who were those hardcore AEW watchers probably weren't really huge fans of Jade Cargill, because she was seen as somebody who was just kind of more or less Goldberg in AEW, just pushed straight to almost the top. She never became the AEW Women's Champion, but pushed more or less to the top of the women's division without having the ring ability, without having the skill, even though she had trained in I forgot what Bryan Danielson's little wrestling school or his teaching thing is. I forgot what it's called, but despite having trained with them, she's still, like I said, is still seen as somebody who's just not that good in the ring, which is...
Well, all due respect to Daniel Bryan and whatever help she had at AEW, which I'm sure was considerable.
They're not the Performance Center.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, AEW just cannot compete at all with that kind of thing. And like I think I said in the Discord, like, she should go and wrestle Natty 4 times a week in front of a live audience at these house shows for 6 weeks, 10 weeks, something like, like she'll learn more in those couple weeks than she did in the year and a half or whatever it was she was at AEW. Now, they have some great world-class, greatest of all time type performers there, but they were already like that when they got there. They haven't really made anybody molded, from not really much and turn them into anything.
No, they haven't. The only person that they remotely did that with was Jade Cargill, and she's in WWE now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, but I mean, because of her lack of in-ring talent, I think that's going to diminish the amount of eyes that she could have potentially brought with her, as opposed to, say, for example, Kenny Omega signed with WWE. He would bring an absolute fuckload of eyes with him to the product because he's Kenny Omega, because he is that big of an established star, and people would absolutely love to see him work matches in WWE, especially main event level matches. Like, people like a Kenny Omega, Seth Rollins would be a dream match. Stuff like that. So because he has that cachet, that wrestling cachet with him, with those hardcore AEW fans, they'd be willing to follow somebody like him to WWE to see what he does in that company. I don't know that Jade Cargill has that same cachet with those fans, other than maybe some people who may have been, I guess, casual AEW fans, if those even exist. But that would, I don't know that she's dragging that many eyes from the AEW product to the WWE.
No.
I think most of the hype is for Jade Cargill is coming from people who are already WWE fans, or just larger wrestling fans as a whole, who are just looking forward to seeing the dream matches that she could potentially have with, like, Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley or Charlotte Flair likes, or the people who are invested in seeing what kind of development she can get with the class of teaching that she can get from the Performance Center, with that type of grooming and development, as opposed to, what she got in AEW.
Yeah, but she's also going to now be in a place where, like, WWE is super hot right now, right? So when Fox at their football game is going to have a superstar there to promote SmackDown, you know what I mean? And people, she's the type of person, you look at her, you see her, you go, holy shit, I get to see what she's doing, because she, in a way that really no other woman currently, she's more, more muscular or bigger or whatever than Bianca, bigger than Rhea, bigger than Raquel,
she can flex her back.
Nobody can touch her look right now, and that's in a business that's so cosmetic. That's something you can't teach that,
she showed up, Jack. Like she was She was like, let me work out let me do some push-ups before Triple H walks me out. Like, she was like fucking ripped when she got.
Yes, I think it's.
She ain't have to do now one push-up.
I think it's less
she look
about
like that all the time.
AEW eyes to WWE as it is to non-wrestling fans. Period to WWE.
You follow Jade Cargill's IG, you know she looks like that all the time. that wasn't 20 push-ups in the off camera before we recorded. Like, nah, she looked like that all the time. And yeah, you're 100% right. She has that it factor for that crossover appeal. But again, I think that's almost a preaching to the choir aspect. And again, she can also contribute that crossover appeal to WWE. But the one thing that we're also with that crossover appeal, or that actually, I won't even think appeal is the right word to be used yet. I think it's a little too premature to say crossover appeal. I'm going to say that crossover potential that she has, because I think that's what it is right now. It's all potential. She has tremendous crossover potential because ultimately she's still, with all this crossover potential that she has, that's creating pressure on her, and arguably more pressure than any WWE signing has had in quite some time to actually perform when it's time for her to hit the ring. Because for all this hype and all this buildup and the ESPN reporting and all this crossover media attention that they're getting, if when she steps in that ring, she looks like shit, it's all going to fall apart real quick. Or if, say, 6 months from now, she still hasn't debuted on television, we still haven't seen her on television, and now the rumors start to spread, like, what's taking Jade Cargill so long to be on television? And you start hearing the rumors, Jade Cargill's development isn't happening as quickly as WWE would like. She's not ready yet. She hasn't shown the level of improvement that they were expecting. You know, almost that Gable Stevenson type of situation where people had all this expectation and all of a sudden she's not living up to it. Maybe she's not meeting it. Then
I think she's a lot more mature than Gable Stevenson.
Sure, I'm not saying that she's going to be a Gable Stevenson, but I'm just saying that type of comparison where the person came in with a lot of hype and anticipation but didn't live up to it. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair comparison in that regard, sure.
Yeah. Now, granted, I believe that she can develop. I believe that she will become that person. But until we see it, we can't rule out the possibility that this could turn into a flop. And
sure. That's definitely on the table.
Yeah.
Let's be positive.
Sure. Again, I'm being positive. I believe that she will rise to the occasion. I believe that with the development she'll get in the Performance Center, she will turn into a tremendous star.
Fucking huge.
Yeah, I do too. But again, it's just we can't not explore the possibility that what if, not pose that question of what if she doesn't? What if she gets in, or what if they rush her? You know, it could also not be her. They could be so, Vince could get that hair up his ass to, want to seize the moment or capitalize on all the hype and rush her out there before she's ready and force them to put her on television before she's ready. And then she has that first match out there and she looks lost, or has a major botch and she looks like the other person that whoever they put her in the ring with, they have to clearly carry her through the match.
Wasn't there a story about them trying to hide Omos from Vince because they were like, if Vince sees him, he's going to want to put him on television, and he's not ready for television yet. No, this isn't quite the same, but yeah, I think everything you're saying is right.
I mean
she could totally fall on her face, or she could also get rushed, and I don't know. I would like to say I wish we didn't know about this shit. You know what I mean? I wish we had no idea this was going on, and I wish she just came out in the Royal Rumble and it was just like, holy fuck, Like, it kind of sucks that this kind of stuff is not only the dirt sheets are spoiling it, but WWE is plastering it all over everything. I kind of wish we didn't know, you know?
Yeah, I know part of me wishes too, but I think it's like if it was one of those situations and she comes out and like there's no pop, nothing, it's like, ugh, crickets, you know? We don't need crickets. Like, you know, Cody Rhodes coming back, people are going to fucking pop because we know who Cody Rhodes is. He used to be one of us, you know, he's one of our boys. But, you know, I totally get it. We're getting somebody that AEW made, you know, an AEW creation. So, going to have to build it up slowly and then make it a big fucking deal when it happens. So.
And to a certain extent, now that as much as we may have wished that they could have kept this under wraps and been, you know, more secretive about it and let it be a surprise thing. Yeah, like what Wayne said, that could have. Imagine if she did pop up at the Royal Rumble and just got a mid reaction, and everybody was like, "Ain't that AEW chick who can't wrestle?"
Yeah.
And imagine if that would have been the reaction to this person that y'all thought was about to be a huge fucking deal. So, you know, and like I said, given that AEW is their number one competition to a certain extent, you know, they got to play that media game. Like, they're not full on in Monday Night Wars.
Well, they're in a Tuesday Night War. Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah. Clearly, they acknowledge that AEW is their competition, even if it can't quite do the numbers. They know that they're there enough that they have to pay attention to them, that they have to care about them, that they have to seize opportunities to steal a headline from them. And a signing like Jade Cargill is just that. Their biggest homegrown talent has jumped ship to them. Yeah, they ain't no way in fucking hell they weren't gonna, you know, get as all the clicks and media coverage out of that they could. And and we see what's happening Tuesday. AEW had decided that, we're gonna shift that shit to Tuesday night, and WWE said, "Oh, really, bitch? Yo, Mark, what you doing, man?"
Yeah, I mean, they're throwing the kitchen sink at it. They're like, do not ever do this again.
Pretty much.
This is like a nuclear option kind of shit. This isn't...
I mean, really, everything short of Stone Cold and The Rock is showing up tomorrow. Really. And that's clearly a sign of...
the big show on, too. But it's just like... WWE is just like,
Right.
It's crazy.
My hammer's bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's like a dick swinging contest.
Basically, pretty much. He said, we throwing everything on fucking NXT. You might as well call that shit NXT Raw.
Yeah, right?
Fucking what? Cody, Asuka is in a match. Cody's going to be there. Heyman's going to be there.
Cena.
Yeah, Cena's going to be there with some fucking announcement. And then
Undertaker.
Right. At the very least, Undertaker's gong's going to be there.
Yep, everybody. So,
I mean, you imagine Judgment Day will be there, or at least Dom and Rhea and Becky. It's just like half the roster.
We're going to get a surprise announcement: Roman Reigns versus Braun Baker for the undisputed title.
Yeah, right.
God. Yeah. Currently, Monday Night Raw is going on. We're gonna wrap up here in a bit. I'm probably gonna catch the ending of Monday Night Raw. Some new feuds are gonna be happening, thankfully. Some new
I've been glancing over a little bit while we've been recording.
Yeah,
been a couple of things that have been slightly interesting without the benefit of Michael Cole talking over it.
God, yes. I can only take so much more of Michael Cole. I can. Man needs to retire.
You know, just hit Nia Jax with a nasty looking powerbomb.
God. So, you guys got any other news you want to discuss?
Are you behind or am I behind?
What?
Oh, you guys are both watching Raw?
I got Drew chasing around JD.
Oh, yeah, that's happening now. I'm saying earlier in the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, earlier in the show, Nia Jackson.
I thought I already saw that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was earlier. Nia Jackson, Raquel Rodriguez had the match, and I just happened to glance over and see like I said, Raquel hit a pretty impressive power bomb on Nia Jax before Rhea came out there and started beat the snot out of Nia and Raquel, and then Shayna came out there and got involved and started whooping up on folk and dropped freaking Rhea Ripley with a nasty knee to the face. So I'm guessing they're going to do something with them four. I guess they're going to be in a 4-way feud at this moment, which apparently is a 4-way feud that doesn't fucking involve the goddamn WWE Women's title, because it just seems like a bunch of them are just pissed off at Nia. But then,
why couldn't we have had a 4-way match at the pay-per-view? You know, with Nia and the three Musketeers.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we will. But it's like the only one that seems motivated to actually in this feud to actually go after the women's champion is Raquel. Nia Jax is just like, I'm whooping everybody's ass. Shayna is like, I'm whooping your ass because you ran up on me.
Yeah.
And then Rhea's like, I'm whooping your ass because you ran up on me. Like, 3 of the 4 are all pissed off at Nia Jax because Nia Jax fucked with all of them. Only one of them is actually like, I want the women's title. And that's Raquel. And like I said, the other ones are just getting in Rhea's face by proxy because it's just 4 women all pissed off at each other.
Mm-hmm.
But without the clear, defined motivation of, I'm challenging you for the title specifically because I want to whoop your ass for the title.
That's kind of like an overarching problem with a lot of this. Like, there's there's not nearly enough title striving for. It seems like just overall for all the titles, really.
Yeah, it's like the titles are just there almost as like trophies, but not actual goals for anybody
like,
to
like
want
the entirety of the whole thing should be trying to get a championship, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, like it's almost like a trophy wife now. That's like you're just there to be an accessory and look pretty, as opposed to being, you know, the actual brass ring that all the women are trying to reach for. Yeah, that is definitely a problem with their booking right now.
Nice.
I don't know. Hopefully they'll find their center at some point, or maybe somebody will come into the company who legitimately cares about the women's division. They're like, y'all can write all the other shit, just give me the women.
I mean, we're about to start to be in the best part of the year. You know, the road to WrestleMania is about to start, and everything's a fucking mess.
Yeah, I know.
Road to WrestleMania, and out of all these women, 4 of them are probably going to end up in matches for the titles, despite all this fighting amongst all these people.
Dre, do you have anything you want to plug?
Nothing really at the moment. Y'all can just find me in the usual places: PCW Discord, PCL Discord, and find me on Instagram, D_R_more757. Other than that, like I said, mostly you can find me in the PCW Discord. Every Raw and SmackDown and increasingly NXT, you can find me in there sharing my live thoughts and reactions to stuff.
Cool. Doyle, got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm just in the Discord, you know, and you can find me in there several days after a show talking about it when I get around to watching it. But yeah, other than that, you can find me right here on PCW.
Cool, and you can find me just about anywhere as Semi-Dry Chicken. I'm also in the Discord. We have been discussing off air about a t-shirt design. I'm going to try to get it done and out and on ProWrestlingTees.com so we can have something to wear at WrestleMania. Yeah, working on that. The idea of a Facebook has come up, and also QR stickers. Or business cards, something of that matter. But all in time. It's doing well. So yeah, that's it, guys. We'll come back. Next pay-per-view is a Saudi show. So I'm sure that'll be booked with crazy fucking matches that'll only be a one-time offer. God knows.
Yokozuna!
Yeah, by Goldberg come back again, and Brock Lesnar, and you know, who knows? Who knows?
Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior. Yeah. So, all right. With that said, I want to play us out. Here we go.
Bye.
We're really glad that you're our friend, and this is a friendship that'll never ever end.
And his name is John Cena.
Give me what I want. Give me what I want.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Oh yeah? Well, screw you guys. I'm going home.
Bye. Have a great time.